right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Um, Lots of things to talk about in today's video. I got updates, and then of course the real reason why we're here. Now, in the last stream, and that was quite a while ago, people were saying, "Hey, you should drink some water." So I'm like, "All right, got some water." I brought a whole pitcher this time. So while I'm talking, if I'm talking and run out of breath, got water this time, so no issues there. All right, let's start with the updates, and then I'll go into the actual video, or what we're going to talk about. So, first thing first, Reign of Darkness, right? That's the video that people wanted me to, or sorry, that's the video people want me to make that's discussing the manga. And I have some updates about that. So, I'm not going to do what I originally planned, which was going to be a 30-minute video, because that's a lot of editing to do, and Ren is kind of complicated, so I felt it makes more sense to do a couple of videos, and that's the plan. So I'm going to have one for an overall review. I got some notes here, by the way, in case you want to looking down for. So I'm going to do one video that's going to go through just the entire story. I'm going to have one that's going to go through the difference between Lelouch and Dash, because a lot of people think the characters are identical, and I gotta tell you, after reading the manga several times, and of course I've watched Kogias numerous times as well, I can see where people come up with that. Yes, I can see where people come up with that. So I can see that both ways. So there's that. The next video is going to be about the nightmares themselves, and the reason why is because they're another topic to themselves as well, and I figured it'd be another thing to discuss. So I got so far: review for Reign of Darkness, Dash versus Lelouch, the nightmares, and then discussing Renya's arm. Those are the four main videos I want to talk about when it comes to Reign of Darkness. If there's any other topics you want to discuss within that manga, let me know. It's kind of weird because I've read Renya like 5 or 6 times, and I don't know what it is with that manga, but it's not complicated, but there's a lot going on, and so I have to really focus to do a review on that. So those are the videos on Renya. Next, I'm going to be doing a video on Is Lelouch a Villain? And I wrote an article about it a while ago, so I'm going to kind of take that as a base, but I had a discussion with some people on Reddit about it, and I figure I can kind of use that as well. It's really strange with Lelouch. Like, either people think that he's almost a saint, a perfect being, or he's just downright evil. I haven't found many people in the middle, which is kind of interesting. But I wanted to talk about that. And then, in addition to that, I wanted to do some streaming anime reviews. So basically, talk about the different sites, like Tubi TV, Retro Crush, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Netflix, etc. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos of those a week. Again, to prove the point, why I want to have a streaming guide. Which, by the way, I recommend you guys get that, because I update it every couple of months. And if you go to my my blog, I usually have an article for the next month as well. So I'm updating it on several levels. And I'm not getting no data. Gotta be kidding me. Come on, stop. Okay, we're back. Awesome. Okay, so that's all the video stuff. Let's talk about articles. So I'm doing 2 monster ones. Naoki Urasawa monster, by the way, because if you remember in the video, you may not have watched it, but I stated that, you see this. This is my favorite manga of all time. So we'll be talking about it from time to time. And, oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is unbelievable. Why am I having issues now? I'm telling you guys, this is unbelievable. This morning, I was, not this morning, in the afternoon, I was actually streaming this, and I got no issues whatsoever on the stream. And I went for 4 minutes to an hour. Now I'm getting issues. Unbelievable. Well, I don't know if you guys can see us or not. But, alright, so there's that. The topics I'm going to be doing for, hold on, I'm going to put this back here. Topics I'm going to be doing for Monster are, so one of them I think would be really good is there's a thing about Ava and Tenma. If you guys are familiar with the story, they're the first couple that you meet. Basically, Kenzo Tenma's his doctor from Japan. He comes to Germany. well, to become a better doctor. He studies under Ava's father, and he does research for him. And anyway, so they're together for a period of time, but the relationship was actually very interesting because I don't think they really loved each other at the beginning. So that's a fun one I want to talk about. And I'm also doing a discussion on the picture books in Monster. So if you're wondering what that's about, I believe it is... Hold on. So it's this one here. It's pretty early on. Let's see. Right here. So, you can see that. Basically, in Monster, there are a bunch of picture books. And I want to talk about what the significance of them are. And let's see if I can get something else here. That's kind of cool. Oops. Don't want to knock over the microphone. Give me a second here. I actually got this. Unfortunately, it's in Japanese, but it's pretty cool. So, this, again, hope you guys are seeing this, but this right here, this is an actual copy of all the picture books. So it's kind of cool. And it has, so let me open it up. It says by the way, Emil Scherber. If you're familiar with Monster, that's one of Franz Bonaparte, aka Klaus Pope. That's one of his nicknames, or pen names, sorry. If you open it up, though, see again, it has the picture books. So I want to talk about them because, in a sense, the picture books are with a story within a story. So I figured that would be kind of cool to talk about. So that's that. And then I'm not going to grab it because it's kind of heavy, but hold on, it's over here. But for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I want to do some kind of comparisons between that and Code Geass because there actually are a lot of similarities between the two stories. If you guys have seen both, I'll give like a couple examples. There had to be sacrifices for like the final plan, right? Charles needed 2 codes, so C2 and V2, and Father needed 5 sacrifices. People opened the portal for Promise Day or the Ragnarok connection. For example, I wanted to talk about that, like which one was done better, and how to tell like or how to create a final conclusion to your story. That's one thing I had in mind. I also wanted to talk about Roy and Riza's relationship as a couple. I know everyone loves Winry and Edward Elric, which is fine, but hold on. But I wanted to talk about my favorite couple in the series, which is Roy and Riza. And then one more. Okay, I think we're back on now. But I actually went online and looked up like how to fix your streaming connections, and I thought I followed those. This is so like I go live on my own and there's no problems. I go live for you guys for literally like 10 minutes and it freaking sucks on me. Do I have to update my internet? Do I have to fix something else? I don't know. I'll do some research later. Anyways, back to what I was saying. In the video about summarizing the differences between the films and the original anime, I mentioned I'm going to make an article or refix my article with more stuff that I missed. And by the way, after I finished that video, I found more stuff. And I also discovered certain things I didn't know about, or didn't realize, I should say. For example, to start the, well, not to start, but the second film is a part where Lelouch obviously comes back as Zero, right? And he says, I'm here to do the continuation of acts of justice. He doesn't say the, to trade the United States and Japan. And I was like, well, why do you not change what's the difference between the two? And my video, I said I wasn't sure, but when I thought about it, I realized, oh, it's obvious why they made him say that. It's supposed to be a second Zero, so he has to sound and be different. So how do you make him different? You change his reason for why he's doing what he's doing, his motivation. So in the originally, he wanted to make United States Japan. Here, Zero is just fighting for the acts of justice, which means it could be anybody. That's why they had that difference. Because in the original, because in R2, you're supposed to think there could be 2 Zeros. But they don't make it seem like that because he says the same thing. It's like, oh, it's the same Zero because it's the same ideas and goals. But this Zero in the films actually acted differently. So it's like, oh, this actually could be a second Zero. So that's kind of like one example where I was like really thinking about it. Like, what is the difference? Why would they do that? Because every change they made in the film to the original anime, there was a reason behind it. And then finally, I'm doing more quote articles. I did one for Colin and C2. If you follow me on Reddit or Facebook, I like to post quotes daily on Code Geass. I also want to do that for Monster and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as well. And for all those, I want to make like articles that do compilation of them. So that's something else too that I'm working on. I don't know why my stream keeps failing. This is so. It's like I do testing on my own, then this happens. All right, but now we're gonna get to what we're actually here for. But like I said, I thought you guys should use an updates book, and then we'll get into it. So just get rid of this. And gonna go here. Hopefully, yeah, I don't know if this is the new camera I got or if this is just my stream being terrible. Even though, again, I put as the lowest setting, so I don't know what the problem is. Hopefully, when we switch, it'll be okay, but we'll see. All right. So now, okay. So this is the. I wanted to go through a bunch of articles that CBR wrote about the. Well, it's not CBR. It's the people who write for CBR. Let's be accurate here. So the people from CBR who wrote a bunch of articles on the Resurrection and also the recap films. So we're going to talk about those because these articles they're interesting. They're not. These takes aren't exactly how do I put this risky in that they're just kind of I'm going to just state what the fans think and somehow that means anything or it's going to it's not saying anything valuable. So that's what I find most interesting about articles, that they're not particularly helpful. All right, so the first one here is Code Geass. 5 reasons why this popular anime should continue. Actually, hold on, we'll do that one in the end if we have time. Sorry. CBR articles. 5 reasons why resurrecting Lelouch in Code Geass was a great idea, and 5 reasons why it was terrible. Resurrecting Code Geass Lelouch essentially undid the anime's climactic ending, but it also helped rectify a few niggling plot issues. Now, first of all, it doesn't undo the anime's climactic ending, because this is an alternative universe. You don't have to watch this film to experience the rest of Code Geass. I've said many times in my watch order article and in my video that I made on it, and really, anytime people ask on Reddit, I always say that if you watch R1 and R2 and Akito in the middle, and maybe you want to check out Oz the Reflection, that's it, you're done. You don't have to watch Resurrection or the recap films. So to say it undid the climactic ending of the anime is disingenuous because it didn't take the original series and changed it. It made a whole new universe. So that doesn't count. That's like saying Brotherhood out like fixed issues in Alchemist or something, or back and forth. No, they're 2 separate universes. They don't actually, one does not really affect the other here. They're just 2 separate things. If you don't like Alchemist, you watch Brotherhood, you like Brotherhood like Alchemist, or maybe you like both, but that's not true. Okay, let's keep on here. In terms of great anime, Code Geass ranks highly and largely is due to how powerful Lelouch enthralled his audience. Whether he uses Geass on you or not, when you saw him, you were compelled to pay attention. Thanks to Ichiro Okuchu's mind, I'm sure I mispronounced that wrong, approach to the story, it's one that has stood the test of more than a decade and still maintains a devoted fan base. Code Geass is aimed to create the story of a young man willing to do whatever it took to make his world a better place for those he loved. And just like that young man, the show was steadfast, especially in its final act, Lelouch's death. Then Lelouch's resurrection brought him back. So here are 5 reasons why resurrecting Lelouch was a great idea, and 5 reasons why it was terrible. Again, this is not this is being disingenuous because it's talking about in general bring back 5 articles on this, but anyhow. But again, this is a separate universe, so not entirely fair. Now let's go through the reasons. So okay, number 10. It feels like fan service. Fans have theorized for years that Lelouch was alive, and based on those theories around C2's final line, what she addressed to him directly, or simply talking to him the same way people talk to their lost loved ones. I see. She also could have been talking to him actually telepathically, like she talked to Marion throughout the show. That was another theory that people had. Like if Lelouch was trapped in C's world, maybe she was talking to him in C's world. So it wasn't just like if he was a carriage driver, but also could have been he was trapped in C's world. Hopefully my connection uh, improves at some point. Why is it? This keeps happening. YouTube is now receiving that video to maintain a smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. But the question I had though was, why is it poor? Because I'm not running anything else. Okay. Well, the next stream I do, whichever, whenever it happens, OBS, or say, YouTube slow stream. Why is it slow? Unbelievable. Yeah, but I can't do this while I'm in the middle of a stream, guys. I can't restart my computer. Not sure what's causing it. Unbelievable. It was absolutely fine today. Unbelievable. Okay. I hope the guy on my stream doesn't keep dying on me. This is crazy. If I have to, I'll have to update or fix what's going on here. Now I'm just curious. How is this actually in real life? Is it also sucking? Second. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's just the worst right now. Yeah, it looks like live it's not even playing. Ugh. Okay. Freaking annoying. As long as you can hear me, I guess we can go on that run. But again, my data keeps fluctuating in and out. I don't know what's going on. You are now receiving enough video to maintain your current bitrate is expected. Okay, we recommend you stream with a bit of something. But here's the thing, though. I picked the lowest. Picked the lowest everything. I swear, I feel like someone's stealing my internet connection. Why is this happening? Let me see something. Can I change my video capture device's settings, maybe? No, not this. No, here. Let me see something. Maybe I can change. Maybe the video is just not cooperating. No, that doesn't seem to be it. I don't know what's going on. This is exactly what I was. It's just crazy because I was properties. Settings. Unbelievable. Oh, here's the bitrate. Okay. And lower it. It said to, hold on. It said to change the bit rate. I lowered it. Will that help? Or is that not the problem? I just changed the bit rate. Is that good enough for you? Okay, I lowered it. I don't know if we're good now. Is this delayed or not? Let's see. Yeah, this is totally what I wanted to spend the first hour of this doing. This totally was part of the plan. Okay, let's see. Is it responding quite fast enough? No, it's still sucking. It's still crap. At least I'm not losing my connection, so I want to figure out why this is failing. Alright. Okay. After several delays, because OBS sucks, or I suck, it's probably me. Good lesson in life if you're interested. Whenever you're working on something, it's not like functioning the way you expect it to. You blame the object, whatever. It's usually your fault. You're doing it wrong. So I'm doing something clearly wrong with OBS and my internet connection. So I gotta look into that later. But let's get back to this point here. All right. So they're saying that Lelouch was supposed to die, and Bring Back to Life was like for a long life fan, it felt like it cheapened the high stakes that he built. Well, that depends. Because, again, these are two separate universes, so seeing him back doesn't cheapen anything. Because it doesn't negate what he did, because it's not like they took that old universe and they changed it. They changed a different one. So you're not cheapening anything. You simply made an alternative where someone else does something else. It's like the Fate series, right? There's different versions of the original. There's like Fate Stay Night, Fate Stay Night Blade Works, and there's also a visual novel. And with those three, there's different outcomes. But if you change what happened to each of them, it doesn't mean that the other one was cheapened or something. If there was some aspect of one that lead the other. For example, Saber and not to spoil anything, this was kind of old, but Saber and Shiro get together in Fate Stay Night. They don't get together in Unlimited Blade Works. So does that mean it cheapens their relationship there because they changed it, the outcome? I don't think so. I think if this was the original series they changed it, that would make sense, but it's not. They're kind of operating in the vacuum, like bringing back Lelouch in context is cheapening it, but only if it wasn't the original, not in general. All right, what's the next one here? So what is it again? These are 5 reasons why it was good and 5 wasn't bad. So I guess it was bad because it felt like fan service. Why it was good? Seeing Lelouch in the trailer was a rush. With that in mind, it was still one of the most exciting moments in 2019 for anime when the trailer dropped for the new Kogias that heavily featured Lelouch on screen. We already got a taste of that feeling before when Octave Exile premiered, as fans tried to decipher when it took place. As it's confirmed, Lelouch was alive after the end of the original series. But getting to see Lelouch using his Gias once more in a trailer, the film was a resurrection title. That was one fans won't forget. Oh, okay. I don't know. Like, what's the 5 reasons Lelouch was a great and why it was terrible? You know, this is actually, I'm looking at this title. It says in Kogias, but should it be in the original series Kogias? Because, again, one of the problems with this is that I don't know. Okay. This point here isn't terrible, but you can use that context to anything. I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't know. I have no thoughts on it. It doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, this one is a little controversial. It made Shirley less of a character. So the argument that the film cheapened Lucius' death had one good counter argument. The team behind Kogi has released 3 films before this that created an alternative universe that changed key events. Okay, so you just admitted right here that your argument makes no sense. Well, at least your CBR contradicting itself. Nothing new there. Throughout the series, without ruining the major plot points, Lelouch still had himself assassinated. Nellie is still on the throne of Britannia, but the key to saving Lelouch turns out to be Shirley losing her complex storyline of a high school love and burning need to avenge her father's death. In a series that hinged on creating complications for his character, it seemed that only the best way they could conceive Lelouch surviving was through uncomplicating one of their best field characters. I'm not going to say much most of these points because they're kind of but I lowered the KPI and it's still the bit rate is still slow. Really? Okay. The problem with this point here was a couple things. It didn't make Shirley less of a character, okay? It just gave her more of a direct thing to do. I had an argument with someone on this on Reddit, and they were saying how like Shirley followed Lelouch no matter what he did, and I was thinking to myself, well, she did that anyways originally because she followed Lelouch. I mean, she told Lelouch when she was dying that even though you did all this stuff to me, I'm still gonna be with you to the very end. So it wasn't like she was that much different. Now they did give her the dynamics of her father being dead and how Zero Lelouch killed him. Well, didn't directly kill him, but killed everyone around. But Narita, and so the idea that because Shirley didn't go through any of that and Lelouch wasn't affected by her, therefore makes her less of a character. Well, here's the sad fact of the matter is, if you take out the entire relationship between the two in terms of what Lelouch gets from her or how she affects him, rather, Shirley doesn't have much of a character anyways. And that's one of the problems I've had in the original R1, R2, and I made a point of this many times that they did Shirley dirty because she made progress, and then she was getting to something, and ultimately they just set her back with mind wipes. So the way I see it is, on one end, she at least was doing other stuff in R1, R2, but ultimately it led to nothing. At least in this new universe, she actually helps Lelouch on some level, which is what she always wanted to do anyways. So, yes, did they get rid of the whole complex story of her trying to avenge her father, which didn't even last long because her mind was erased for like most of the show. So this is even not like, it's true she was looking trying to avenge her father, but how long did that last for, right? So my argument is this for Shirley: she may have had more things going on in the original series, but ultimately ended up to nothing. At least in the films, she had less going on, but she actually did something productive and actually helped Lelouch, which is what she always wanted to do anyway. So it doesn't make her less of a character; it just changes her role a little bit. She was already less of a character when you look at her, what everything she did to let up to, and how the show treats her. So this is not. I think this is a very simple analysis, and again, this is a standard opinion most people seem to have about Shirley and the films. Like, oh, they brought it back for fan service or whatever. I mean, they brought her back to save Lelouch. That was the point. It's the new universe. Shirley lives, Lelouch lives. Shirley dies, Lelouch dies. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand this, I guess. Okay, without Lelouch surviving, Lelouch would have been killed. Okay. Lelouch surviving doesn't need to have anything to do with not only being captured. Lelouch surviving doesn't seem to have anything to do with not being captured, and Suzaku being unable to save her, but without him, the chances of her escaping were low. What's the context here? Because this isn't the right scene within the series, it's impossible Nelly would have been kidnapped on that goodwill mission, but it seems likely. Plus, since they were going up against someone who had the ability to travel back in time when she died, without Lelouch's unmatched prowess, it's hard to believe that Nelly did end up dying in the main reality. So everyone should be thanking Shirley for stealing a corpse. So are they saying here that without Lelouch, Nelly would have been captured by Zilkstan, and Shonda would have prevailed? Well, I guess you could argue then everyone would have died, or yeah, because then you stopped Shonda, she was going to do something that Charles was going to do. So you could argue that Lelouch saved everybody, or everyone would have died. This is such a strange argument because you could say anything with this. It's like, well, if this didn't happen, then technically, the way that time works, you change the whole stream. So I don't even know. I don't kind of like this point here. I don't even know what they're implying here. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't have Lelouch came back, but I don't know what this has to do with anything. Okay. Number 6. They made an alternate universe where C2 cared just a little more. Well, you obviously didn't watch the show because C2 cared a lot about Lelouch. I made a whole video talking about it. I'm not even going to go through it all here, but okay. 2019 was a big year for alternate universe shenanigans thanks to the 4th film, The Avengers Endgame. Okay. To Ichiro's Kuchi's credit, he'd been building with the 3 recap films that preceded Lelouch of the Resurrection. But the secret to the twist that people have been debating for years turned out to be that Lelouch did die with no intent to survive. If he hadn't stolen the code from his father, and it wasn't activated when he had Saku kill him. Instead, he's resurrected through Sita's plan because in this universe she decided to hold Lelouch to his promise to her that she would never be lonely again, which leaves fan asking why she didn't do the main timeline. Okay, this is not too complicated, but I guess I have to explain this to whoever wrote this article. But C2 didn't bring back Lelouch in the original timeline because she was satisfied with the way he helped her out. That's why. The main difference, I tried to emphasize this in my article and in my video, was that in the original timeline, C2 was satisfied with the situation with her and Lelouch. He died, but she was okay with this. He still helped her out, and she still grew as a person, and she can now look forward to the future and actually living her life. But in the alternate universe, C2 is not content. and she wants Lelouch to honor her promise. So the idea that she is, how do I put this, that she is caring more is a little interesting to me because she cared in both. In fact, you could argue she's being selfish here, which is being less caring of what Lelouch wanted by bringing him back, right? Because it even says here he didn't want to actually he didn't want to come back. If you watch the film, Lelouch's like, this wasn't me. When Sokka was beating him up, Lelouch kept saying, no, this wasn't actually me. This was what I wanted to do. So C2 was actually being selfish. So say that she cared a little more isn't accurate. It's more like she didn't care. She cared less, honestly, not respecting Lelouch's what he wanted. So this is wrong. And again, if you understand the difference between the two universes, you wouldn't be making this point. It gives us some idea it gives us some idea about what might have happened after Lelouch's plan worked. None was left behind to lead the world into peace after Lelouch sacrificed himself as a sacrificial lamb. Nice wording there. He believed this would be needed. He believed his world. What? As sacrificial lamb, he believed his world needed. Okay. It was clear that she possessed the quality of a benevolent ruler, but the question remained if the rest of the world would be able to accept her or see her as someone weak to be deposited. Okay, with Zaku as Zero by her side, there was some assurance she would be safe, but in Resurrection, we get to see that she has successfully been handling peacekeeping missions, although it does not imply that she could have been captured. It still shows she was quite capable ruler despite deserving of a place as Lelouch's successor. Well, they don't mention the fact that Schneizel is helping her out, right? That's one of the reasons why Lelouch used the Gyas on him to serve Zero, not him. So there's that aspect as well. And then, of course, you have Zero being with her. Here's the thing, though. Does this have anything to do with... This point isn't awful, but look at the title of this article. Again, it's why I hate CBR. Why resurrecting Lelouch and Kogias was a great idea. What does that have to do with explaining what would happen after his plan worked, right? You could have made a film that showed the continuation of the story. You don't need to have Lelouch alive for that. So, I mean, think about the end of R2, right? You see Lelouch, not Lelouch, you see, Lelouch is dead at this point. You see Nunnally pushed in the wheelchair by Suzaku, with Ogi watching, or Ogi being there with Schneizel. Is Lelouch there? No. So clearly you can show what happens after Lelouch being there. You could even argue that last scene kind of told you everything you need to know. So this point is garbage. Even though I'm glad Lelouch is back, but this has nothing to do with Lelouch. Did you read the title of your article? God. All right. Next point. Endangered the message Lelouch stood for, or his death stood for. This one isn't about the relationship the fans have with the work. It's just common sense that if Lelouch's plan was to unite the world around the destruction of the evil emperor, then if he just walked around in this world, it's going to be a problem if people find out his death wasn't lied. Did you watch the film? But anyways, there doesn't seem to be any mass social media for someone to just tweet about Lelouch Lamprey who famously murdered Emperor Britannia walking around, but the plan is now in danger of being undone. No, because Lelouch went into hiding afterward. Now, I like to mention social media because there actually is social media. Oh, man. Did they not watch Akito the Exiled? Because in Akito the Exiled, there is social media. Remember when Arc Fleet occurred and the guy was saying, hey, on social media, terrorists are attacking us. And I believe one of the members of the W0 told Ayano that, no, that's social media. You can't believe everything you see. So I find it funny they say there's no social media. No, there actually is. There actually is social media in Kogias. Even if it was retconned into the story, it does exist. So not only is this wrong. Oh my god. You now watch the story. I don't mean to be mean, but like again, if you're gonna talk about a topic, I know people write CBR articles, they spend like an hour maybe researching, but that's garbage. I don't know where this point even came from. He's walking around that he might be in danger of being undone. If you watch it in the film, he goes to be with C2 at the end, but she was saying he could go be with Kaguya or he can be with Shirley and hide out for a while. So What are you saying that he? It just depends. If you recognize him. Here's something to think about, right? In R2, Anya Olstein, she kept showing Lucius' picture when he was a child, and Lucius was like, "Yeah, that's not me." But she's like, "Are you sure it's not you?" No, yeah, that's not me. Okay. If people don't want to see it, they're not going to see it. All right. This is such a stupid point. And so basically, it undoes the plan because if they find the Emperor's still alive, then they're like, it ruins everything. He's in hiding now. He's hanging out with C2. It's not going to happen. If you watch the film, they are pretty covert about it. Yeah, Lucius is going to walk around, and if he did, people would believe it anyways. Okay. But there is social media in Code Geass. That's the funny part about this point. If you watch Akito, you would know that. This person clearly didn't. Or the original film either. Resurrection either. Okay, next point. It makes more sense. Seduce wasn't the most active character in the plot of the main series. C2 wasn't the most active character in the plot of the main series. What do you mean by that? Do you mean she wasn't active at all, or compared to everyone else she wasn't? What are you talking about? Alright, whatever. For the most part, she was satisfied Lelouch would do with a power that had caused loneliness. In ways that a large part of the story arc being shown that the curse she thought seemed. However, if C2 was meant to be in love with Lelouch all along, it's hard to accept that she wouldn't try to stop from acting his plan, or at least come up with one of her own so they wouldn't try to both get what they wanted. Creating an alternate universe where C2 is the one responsible for his resurrection gives her age to entirely. What? Okay. What? So but what was this point? She resurrected him, right? Because she cared. Is this saying I have to use my big brain here because I don't know what's going on. C2 was the most active character in the plot main series. That's not true. For the most part, she was satisfied to see Lelouch would do with the power. She was satisfied with what Lelouch did, period. In the when she says, like, she's just sitting there relaxed, she's happy. Sorry, she's content. Why would it make more sense for her to resurrect him when she was content at the end of the original series? I'm saying it makes sense because of the way the original story wrapped up. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying this is even wrong. I don't know. We're gonna move on. Okay. It broke the career's long-held hard line. Long-held hard line. Try saying that 5 times fast. By the end of the film, the implications that Lelouch is going to continue being dead. He gives his name and starts being called by LL to imply that he may have returned. He's not going to go back to his old ways. Okay, and we'll not only say that Zaku returning to being Zero, then things are back on track for the peace Lelouch wanted. So why did he actually have to die in the first place? He's a master strategist, able to deduce that someone has the power to travel into the past when she died after she's able to predict all of his moves. So if he's smart, how did he not know that actually being dead wasn't vital to his plan? Because that was the whole point of the only people who should kill are those prepared to be killed. That's how the story ends. That's why he did it. It was part atonement and part staying up for what he believed in. And also keep in mind, as you said in your own article, where was it? That he didn't actually want to come back to life. Was it here? No, not that. Oh god, not that one. Jeez. Was this one where he said it was clear he qualified, was not to zero? You said in your own article. God, where the hell was it? Now I'm like trying to hurt myself to find it. No. Was it this one? I know you guys said it somewhere here. Well, anyways, I'm not going to go through it again because I don't want to waste too much time on it. But the point I make is that Lelouch died for atonement and it was part of the plan. I think you missed the whole point of what was going on during the Zero Requiem when you say something like that. And by the way, his plan was very masterful. You think about it. He put Schneizel in charge of taking care of following Zero. He made Britannia join the UFN. He got Nully to become Empress. So he had everything lined up. His plan was actually very brilliant. It wasn't just him dying. They always like to resort to just, oh, he died as the greater evil, and therefore he saved everyone. It wasn't just the fact he died. It was he put everything in place so when he died, the world would be better off. It wasn't just one act, it was several. That's why this point is so asinine to me, because it's implying that his death was the only aspect to his plan. There was a bunch of things going on. He didn't want to come back to life either. It says creator's long held hard line. Does he mean the person who made the story, or does he mean Lelouch? I wasn't sure what they mean by that. But this is asinine. And he returned away, and Nully stays not returning Zero. Then things are back on track for peace, which wanted. So why did that in the first place? Okay. It gave a satisfying end to the love story. Romance was never heart of Kogias. Alright. This is lower recommended. Bit rate. Okay, but when I do the actual bit rate, that's not good either. OBS, what are you doing to me? Alright, I'll put it back to 25, but that's what got me in this trouble to begin with. Alright. Alright, we're back to 25 now. Maybe that will fix it. Or break it again. I don't know. Anyways, where are we? Okay, romance never a heart of Kogias. Well, kind of was, right? I mean, isn't that what like drove Shirley? You know, the character you talked about. Where are we? Here, okay, and isn't that also why Colin was like upset with C2 towards the end, or her whole like feelings towards Lelouch was very complicated? So I don't know what they're talking about. It's no surprise that the ending of the original anime didn't exactly wrap up their story in a way that made the shippers happy. I guess so. Sure, you didn't get your scene. I get it. Instead, it gave us a forlorn C2 who seemed to found happiness thanks to Lelouch, but didn't need to be with him. All right, hold on a second. You just said C2 found happiness thanks to Lelouch not being with him, but then you said, what was it? Here, you said here. Yeah. Instead, he's resurrected through C2's plan because this universe she decided to hold Lelouch to his promise. Which leaves Fan asking, why wouldn't she do that in the main timeline? Why wouldn't she do this in the main timeline? You just said it right here. She found happiness thanks to Lelouch, but didn't need to be with him. So let me get this straight. Why would you... Forget it. Not worth it. Okay. Where are we? As stated earlier, although this university was less satisfied with Lelouch with Lelouch called the shots, he didn't consider her in terms of killing himself, and so she didn't see any need to take his feeling into account in bringing him back to life. And seeing him change his name for her was downright adorable. It also was a way of confessing his love to her. Alright, this article is pretty bad. It's funny because I actually am happy they brought back Lelouch, but the reason why they did were like clearly, how do I put this? They didn't watch the show or the OVAs or really did much research into this because these points are, one, wrong and contradictory. I mean, you can't throw an argument that you later contradict by saying, yeah, she found happiness, but the new universe was less satisfied. You can't say, well, then why was she main timeline? Because, all right. Anyway, that's this wonderful article. Let's move on to the next one. All right, here we are. Now let me reload this. 5 things the movie trilogy did great, and 5 things the original anime did better. Okay, I assume when they list the movies versus the original anime, you know which one they're talking about in terms of doing better. No photo, excellent. The Kogias movie trilogy definitely has its fans, and while we love certain aspects of it, we also think the anime got a lot of things right. Don't you mean better? Not right. We know we got a lot of things right. You mean better. We're one sentence into this and it's already bad. 5 things the movie did great. 5 things the original anime did better. Better. Just put better here. Anyhow, anime compilation movies are a staple for the industry. They give people an opportunity to experience the story of an anime without having to necessarily watch a series that might have episodes numbering dozens or hundreds. Code Geass is such an anime. Code Geass has the episodes. Okay, you said dozens. Fine, fair. Which was adapted into a trilogy of compilation films: Initiation, Transgression, and Glorification. Well, just remember though, they're not being honest here or being thorough. These aren't just recap films so you can watch the series. They also change stuff in the original anime. The Code Geass had recap films for both R1 and R2 that came out before this. Those films are actually the ones that summarize everything. So there were films before that actually do this. It's kind of like in Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Death and Rebirth was actually it was like it was a recap film of the original series. They just put a bunch of images, clips together, kind of lazily done. But hey, if you watch the original anime, I guess it's good to look at. Anyhow, fans had mixed feelings about these films and the choice they made about how they dealt with the plot of the beloved anime. Here are 5 that the trilogy movie handled things as well. Here are 5 things the trilogy movie handled things. Here, I'll fix this for you guys. Here are 5 things the movie trilogy handled well as 5 things we prefer to the original anime. And my grammar sucks too. So I get it, but this is a whole company. Anyhow, movie trilogy, streamline the plot. The big thing about the compilation movie is that they take the biggest picture of the anime's plot and just focus on that. This streamlined the plot and gets us to the important things much more quickly. Okay. It also cuts out the superfluous characters who might not be necessary to the immediate story that's being told. Anime takes a long time to watch, and if you're interested solely in the plot without wanting to spend too much time on the subplots or B characters, it's a good option for getting that experience. Did he streamline the plot, or did they make it more complicated? Because I found the recap film, I think I mentioned this, that if you never watched the original anime, and you probably can watch it and be okay, but if you watch the original anime, it didn't really streamline anything. It just cut stuff out for convenience to cut the 3 films. And then it decided to compensate for those removed areas. Did it streamline the plot? I guess so. But at the same time, you had a lot of sacrifices with streamlining it. Even the original anime was pretty streamlined too. It just was a little distracted. I think what happened is that because when they first made Code Geass, they had no source material, right? There was no manga or anything like that. So when they put it, I guess they kind of had to work on the fly. I read some articles or blogs from people that they actually had a bigger plan. Like R1 isn't really R1. There actually was something called R2, which was actually like another direction of the series. It wasn't supposed to, the way it went was not how they originally planned it. So I guess when you've already taken a pre-made finished story, you can say, okay, now we can streamline and fix it. But the problem with the original anime, now I'm CBRing. The problem with the problem is that there was a problem. And because of that, when you streamline the plot, you're trying to fix an already, they streamlined it. I don't know. I have like mixed feelings about this one. Let's move on. Original anime pacing. On the other hand, cutting a full anime series down to 3 movies can really affect the storytelling. Code Geass is a story of 25 episodes. No, it's 50. 50 episodes. Oh God, really? 50 episodes, not 25. There isn't a lot of scheme in a short anime which can go on for 100 episodes. I'm sorry, which isn't a lot in the scheme of some anime 100 episodes. Well, it's 50, not 25. Still, the story was written to be told in chunks, and the pacing of the story depends on that episodic nature. The anime gets the actual pacing rhythm of the storytelling down, and much more natural since the story was written to be told in that manner. See, the films could have been fine too, but they let me get this straight. You told me to lower the rate. Okay, so I did. Then you slowed the video down. So should I put it back to where it was? Come on, guys. You know, YouTube here. Like, what is it? What must I do? How many blood from Baby Skull do I have to drink out of to get this stream to function correctly? But anyways, the point here is that the pacing would have been good in the films if they just cut stuff out and they were more consistent with it. The second film was just awful. It started off great, like everything up to the end of R1 was fantastic, and then R2 they just started cutting things. Yeah, it wasn't good. They could have done a better job, but they just didn't. So I agree, but not for the reasons they're stating it. The alternative ending. Glorification is a bit of a controversial ending. Is that different from the original ending of the series? There is, yeah, it's true. Many fans felt the changing ending was a mistake. There's something to be said for the new ending. The ending being a more ambiguous gives us something to think about and allows us to dwell on the story that much longer. On top of that, it creates an entirely new world for the film, allowing us to think about the different ways this adventure could go. Now, unless I'm crazy, the ending of the glorification, actually it's just glorification, but it doesn't actually state that Lelouch was alive. It just states that C2 wants him to fulfill his promise. And Lelouch just did better, and finally Richard Ava did better. Because if you notice, the next point, it says the movie trilogy alternative ending, and then it says original ending. So which ending was better? Guys, what's going on here? Original, alternative ending, original ending. Okay. And by the way, for the original ending, in the recap film, the Requiem, how is it lower than the Unbelievable. It told me to lower the rate. I raised it, and now we're... Oh, God. Okay. I guess I have to call Arsen and figure out what's going on with my internet. I'll have to put in... I'll have to put in some extra work to figure out why this keeps happening. Because, again, it was totally fine when I was just unlisting it. Whatever. But back to this, though. So the original anime's, the film's ending, it didn't really change a whole lot from the original anime. The only difference that you just see Lelouch, you see C2 walking out saying, you know, are you going to fulfill my promise? And then it says resurrection at the end. It hints to be a third film, or a fourth film, I should say. That's the only difference. And what I was saying before was the end of the Zero Requiem film, it says that Lelouch actually died. So there was no ambiguity at the end of the story. And just so you know, the film came out, the film for R2, or the Zero Requiem, that came out in 2009. And Kogias ended in what? 2008? Hold on. I should know this, but I'm going to look it up anyways. Kogias R2. Give me a second here. Yeah, I wrote R1. These. 2007? I thought it was... Hold on. Give me a second here. When did this come out? 2008. That's what I thought. The show ended in 2008. Actually, 2009. Is that the American release? Oh, English here. Okay, so we got it by the end of 2009. If you look up Kogias Zero movie. I believe it's called that. No, not these films. We'll go to Mal. So you go to... Yeah. This film came out in 2009. So the point I'm trying to make is that the ending ambiguity was removed like a year later, and then the author confirmed that Lelouch was in fact dead. So to say that the ending originally had some ambiguity, I mean, I guess it did, but It was removed way before these films were even created. It's not even, so this point is not accurate. Again, you gotta do some research before you write this. Okay, next point. Original anime, original ending. So the film did better with their ending, but the anime did better with their ending. Okay, makes sense. But if we can't ignore the fact that the anime was written to have a very specific ending, as opposed to other shows which don't have very specific endings. I don't even know what that means. But anyways, everything that happened in the series up until this point does so we can reach the final point. I already have seen at this point. Okay, all you had to say was everything led up to this final moment. That's it. Everything Lelouch does is to make sure the exact ending happens the way we... What the hell is this? You could have, like, you could have summarized this in, like, one sentence. Everything led up to the moment that Lelouch was planning or something. What? God. Just, God. This. Alright, anyways. This allows the capitalization on the theme that the series is playing with issues of class and war and our place and complicity in it. The ending was chosen for this series for a reason, and it seems like an important part to keep. You didn't say... I have never... At least with our CBR's articles and points, I can at least state, alright, they were trying to come up with something. There was nothing said in these 2 paragraphs. All they said was, the ending was done for a reason, and therefore we should have kept it. You could have summarized the whole thing in one sentence. Wow. I don't know. By the way, I'm watching Ra Zephan as like a, or Zephan as like a side note, and this nightmare frame, the Gawain, looks kind of like the Ra Zephan. So, because I think it's Egyptian. This is based on, I think, Anubis. And Ra Zephan uses a lot of Egyptian lore, I believe, or mythology, which is kind of cool because it's similar to Neon Genesis Evangelion, and that show uses Christian theology. So, anyhow, the movie trilogy, the animation. The movies were made about a decade after the anime series were playing on TV. Yeah, basically, came out, what, 18? And this show ended in 2008, so yeah, that's right. That means that the technology to make the animation had changed a lot since they originally animated the series. Not saying anything, but true. The films added or adjusted scenes in the film to make sure the story made more sense with the other scenes cut out. Right? That's true. They also made sure the animation matched that was initially done in the original... Wait, they also made sure the animation matched what was the original series. So there's no jarring experience of incredibly modern, high-tech animation. Actually, something that looks like it has aged well by comparison. Well, you know, they actually... they just made everything better as a result. Like, the new scenes in the film are really good, and there were parts in the original anime that they touched up. They actually just modernized the whole show, almost like a touch-up. I wish they just redid all of Code Geass to begin with and not done these films, but I'm not here to talk about that. I agree with this point, by the way. The animation in the original anime and the films are better. But that's only because, generally speaking, unless you look at some modern anime with the CGI usage, usually things get better over time. Or they should be. Alright, next. Original anime, character development. Yes, obviously, there's more time for them. Part of creating a compilation movie means deciding what elements of the series were superfluous and moving in order to cut down on time. Usually unnecessary, or whatever. One of the first things to go was the access characters and time we spent with them. And the characters who are essentially to the story don't have much room for character development in the movie. The anime, on the other hand, is built for all the characters to have enough time for their own story arcs and character development, letting us get to know more about them. That's true, but we don't get a lot of conclusions in the original anime. One of my complaints. By the way, what does the creepiest yandere girls have anything to do with character development or Code Geass for that matter? It doesn't. So I'm not sure why they put it there. So yeah, character development was definitely better in the original anime. But even that, it struggled. The films obviously removed a lot of stuff. The movie tweaked stories. This goes along a bit with the alternate ending of the film. While a lot of fans of the original anime thought that the movie should have kept more close to the original anime, felt that the film should have been more close to original anime. But again, here's the thing you gotta understand. They already made films that did this. What would have been the point of... Alright, I'm back. What would have been the point of making these recap films if you already... to make them... I'm sorry. What would have been the point of making these films the same as the original anime if they already made films that did that? And more importantly, how was the film better at tweaking the plot? I guess in some level, sure. There were some changes I admit I think were better in the film. For example, there's no bathroom scene with Colin. Instead, she just figures out that, hey, Lelouch takes care of Nunnally, so I don't have to worry about him being zero. You know, I think that was probably better. And there's some changes like that. I'm like, okay, I can see that. But all around, I think most changes they made were, like Zaku being the EU the whole time instead of being in for convenience. And it didn't really, I don't know about that change, but anywho, by not adhering totally to what the original anime was attempting to do, the movie created an alternative reality to the original world, giving us a taste of what might have happened in a story if slightly different things had occurred. It's a fun what-if style of storytelling that we admire. It only works as an adaptation of the original series. But here's why I'm confused with this point. The article's title is 5 Things the Original Movie Did Better and 5 Things the Original Anime Did Better. Okay, here's the question though. The original anime can't tweak a story if it's the original story. So how does this point make any sense? It's basically saying that the films did a better job of tweaking the original story than the original story tweaked itself. What? Why didn't they make the article just say 5 things that are great about the films and 5 things that are great about the original anime? Why be so specific in the title and then have points that have nothing to do with anything? At least 1 point so far. Whatever. Original anime, character designs. Technically speaking, the movie trilogy had the same character designs as the original anime, but we want to give credit where credit is due. Kogi has a character designed by Clamp, a manga studio known for its all-out wild designs, who has a very recognizable, distinguished look, big eyes, long, thin profiles, outrageous costumes. The anime is not actually a Clamp production, but the choice to have them is a fun one. It gives a serious, romantic, fantastical feel that may not be quite cheap otherwise. This has nothing to do with anything. Literally nothing. Movie trilogy, the sequel. Hold on, let me just make sure I read the title right. Movie trilogy. Okay, just making sure I read that right. The ending of the original anime meant that there was no way that Kogias could ever come back with a sequel. No, that's not even true. No, the ending of the anime did not imply it could never come back. It simply implied that Lelouch wouldn't be back in the sequel. You could definitely do a sequel without him. Did the world explode at the end of R2? Did the universe collapse? Did the sun die and it became, it took out the whole solar system with it? Did aliens invade the planet? Did someone use a gas power that makes everyone get some kind of disease and die? As far as I know, none of the above occurred. You definitely could have had a sequel. You can do it. What a stupid point to make. There are plenty of stories that have continuations without the main characters. I'll give you an example that's completely random, but in the show 24, they made a new show that doesn't have Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer. He's not in the show anymore. They had this other guy. It wasn't as well received as the original series of 24, but they continued it. So the point is, What are you even talking about here? You could definitely have a sequel to Code Geass about Lelouch. Just say that. God, these statements are just. One time I should like take an I should download this video when I'm done with it, and just take all the freak out moments of CBR that pissed me off and just look a funny compilation. I'll put the downloads, the ideas, things on Trello. But anyways, back to this point here. Code Geass can never come back with a sequel. Maybe all things here that was okay, but we love the universe and always want more of it. So the fact that the film left the ending open enough to get a sequel, Code Geass, Lelouch of the Resurrection, is exciting for us. It didn't leave anything open. It literally set up the film. That's different. Open-ended is like the end of. I'm trying to think of a film I watched where, like, any film you watch is sequel baits, where you see a character kind of like walking out, or you see a character you know. Oh, here's going. At the end of I don't know why it's the first thing that came to mind, but the end of what's that film? It was in my head. Suicide Squad. The Deathstroke talking to Lex Luthor on a boat or something. So that's called sequel baiting. That implies there could be a sequel or there could not be. Glorification literally tells you at the end of the film, up next, resurrection. That's not sequel baiting. It's not implying that there could be a sequel. It literally said there was going to be one. That's not what they're saying here. It wasn't left open-ended. It literally said it was going to happen. Anyways, we want to be able to delve back into the world of Code Geass. The sequel film is not an adaptation. It's also not an adaptation. So its pacing is more like a traditional film, giving us the Code Geass content we want with the storytelling we're expecting. Sure, why not? Original anime music. All fans know how important the good music is. The opening and closing themes set the mood for how we're supposed to feel while watching a series, and are often used to heighten the drama climax of the show. Code Geass hits the most memorable music of 2000s, but catchy theme that gets pumped for the action. While the movie does have music, okay, I had to read that correct. It doesn't use it in the same way, and the songs are often just inserting the scenes willy-nilly, making them feel like they aren't thinking too hard. How might affect the mood? Okay, for once, I'm going to agree with CBR here. Yes, the new music in the film was random as heck. There's a part where when Lelouch goes to confront, when Colin and Zach are about to fight at the end, like they did in the original series, they play some random song, and then Lelouch is talking to Nunnally, and I don't know what the point of that was. And they also took away the music when Toto gets the Gekka from stage 17 in the film. They changed the music for some reason in that part as well. So I agree with them here at least. The original anime music was much better. So they win there. Congratulations, CBR. You made 10 points, and one of them actually made sense. So to quote a YouTuber that I respect a lot, you get 2 claps. Good job, guys. You got one thing that I not only I agree with, but actually was a legit point. The rest of these are just, oh my god. Again, like I said at the beginning of this, some of these are not even that brave to make or thought-provoking, but the ones that are just like, this one's so weird. It's like the Ultra ending was better. No, the original anime was better. It was better because it was meant to be better, or it was unique or something. Or this one. This one's amazing. The film did better at tweaking the story than the original anime did, even though the original anime wouldn't tweak itself. Oh my god. This is incredible. Thankfully, I will say them on CBR. I checked them up every now and then to see what they're doing. And if you type in Code Geass, which I'm going to do right now, there's I don't want to read this, but if you take a look, they don't make many Code Geass articles on just the show itself. So, that's great, at least. But, man, if you go to, like, Bleach, for example, I feel so bad for Bleach fans like myself. If you type in Bleach, you know what article they've written on Bleach? It's crazy. There's 40. The pagination is 40, and there's 5. There's like, what is that? 200 articles on Bleach. Oh my god. By the way, if you guys want, I can always talk about Bleach because there's a couple of articles they've written that like it hurt, really hurt. But oh, oh my god. But it's just crazy how many articles they've written on Bleach. Thank God Kokiya they've left alone, because please just stop. All right. Oh, we got some comments here. Excellent. Let's take a look. We got here. Gladiator King, CBR breaking minds as usual. Yes, they are. Ryan Rodriguez, I'm double CBR articles and Kokiya. Yes, me too. Please stop, or at least do some research. Story-wise, this is from Holistic Python. Story-wise, should we have more sequels, or should we be left with the happy ending with the resurrection? I worry when a series goes on too long, it turns to be a shell of its former self. Yeah, very true. Dude, in order for Kogias series to continue, they had to make an alternate recap in a different universe. Dude, in order for Kogias series to continue, they had to... What's wrong with CBR? Oh, God. Yeah, of course. If you keep... Like anything else, right? Look at Boruto. If you guys know what that is, that's... I mean, you probably know Boruto. It's a sequel to Naruto. It's about his son, and Naruto's the Hokage. And people argue that show has, like, it's ruined Naruto because it's how do I put this? It's continuing on a story that should have already ended. So, yeah, it definitely could. I'm not sure where Zero Capture is going to go. I've been speculating for a while what the topic's going to be about. Will it continue Akito? We'll have things from Renya or Oz Reflection? I'm not really sure, but yeah, look, if you keep going off a story, eventually it won't be good anymore. Oh God. I'm sorry, Ryan. I want you to see. Even your response is like that's the point. Uh, yeah. Eventually, you continue a story long enough. Yeah, it gets bad. With Code Geass though, I don't think they have to make a sequel for the story. Why not take Renya of Darkness and Oz of Reflection and just animate those instead? Anyways. Because those were, why not? Why we have to have like I'm not upset with Zero Capture, but let's go to what we already have and work on that, and then see where it takes us. But yeah, if we keep making more of this content, eventually it's gonna get it's not gonna be good. I mean, people argue Resurrection wasn't good, or not good, but like it was too fanfare heavy, and there were some parts of it that weren't the greatest, and that film was their way of getting back into everything. So I could definitely see that. It's a legit problem for sure. All right, let's look at some more here. All right, I never got to Naruto. Same with DBZ. Yeah, look, uh, I'll say for myself that I've watched both. I watched DBZ when I was a kid. We used to go to. I didn't have cable growing up, so I only watched Cartoon Network stuff when we went to like motels and stuff. So I watched DBZ that way. And then I think I watched the whole show in like first year of college. Naruto was kind of the same. I get it though, like long battle shonen anime, some people can't stand it until I get it. I want a new Kogias series that takes place far into the future and has its problems. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Hey, I just finished, or not finished, I'm watching Gundam 00, if you guys have haven't seen that show, by the way, need to watch it. But that story takes place way in the future, and obviously with most Gundam stories, they're fighting in space. I wouldn't mind seeing that. So I agree with that. Not well animated Boruto. Yeah, I've heard some of the the complaints there. And then we have from grade 90, maybe? That corresponds with the plot. Oh, I see. You were continuing your point, right? Because they don't give you much. Again, like bad bit rate. I don't understand. I changed it. Anyways, yeah, exactly. Like I think it'd be cool if we had some kind of future series where they're fighting over Geass powers in the future. That'd be kind of cool. Take the concepts from Nightmare on Nunnally, where the Geass actually made, again, it's alternate universe, but the Geass made the characters become nightmares or nightmare frames. Kind of like Attack on Titan, but before Attack on Titan, where people became mechas. Or if you guys have seen Heroic Age, same concept. The characters turn into the mechs. Yeah, I love mech anime. But anyways, the bad ending can ruin an entire serial Attack on Titan ending. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that here, but yeah. It'd be awesome in the new series. I hope we get to see Alderaan and Akito again after Zero Requiem and Resurrection. Better yet, let's see Resurrection of Orpheus and Renya. Yeah, I agree. Renya is not my favorite character among the new protagonists, but yeah, it'd be cool to see him back. That'd be interesting. I'm not sure how they would pull it off, but with the Jezari code coming out, which by the way, I'm gonna try to do some gameplay of that. Although the way my stream is now, I don't know if I should even bother, but I'll have to figure out how to fix this going forward. But I definitely want to see how in Jezari code how they integrate everything together. I really want to see those characters back. That would be awesome. Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't Orpheus dead at the end of Oz Reflection? Is that what you're saying there? Yeah, Resurrection. Yeah, Orpheus is dead. So, and Renya is dead not because he died in Renya of Darkness. Spoiler alert for the review coming out, but he didn't die at the end. It's just that was in 1860. We're now in 2020 in Resurrection. It takes me 3 years afterwards, so I think that's right. Hold on a second. Let's see. Odious. R1. What years? 2010. Okay, so it's 2013 then. Because Resurrection's 3 years after R1, I believe. All right. I'm not even sure if it's worth going through this next article. Because it says, Code Geass, 5 reasons why it was a good idea to retcon Lelouch's death, and 5 why it wasn't. They didn't retcon his death. They made a... That's like saying, I guess I'll go to Fullmetal Alchemist. I guess I'll have to go back to Fullmetal Alchemist and like between that and Brotherhood. But it's like 5 reasons why it was a good idea to retcon Bradley, Raph as Pride, and 5 reasons why it wasn't. They didn't retcon as Pride versus Raph between the two series. They're alternate universes. They didn't make like that pose from the The Killing Joke, where Joker puts his hand on his head like this. It's kind of how I feel right now. God, who wrote this? Lord, Lelouch's death in the original Code Geass was surprisingly retconned in the anime's movie trilogy. Was it a good idea? That's not what retcon means. Let's look up the word retcon, okay? Because that's not what a retcon. Impose a different... Okay, so it says, in film or television series or fictional work, a piece of a new information imposes a different interpretation of the previous described event, typically used to facilitate a dramatic plot shift or account for an inconsistency. But here's the thing, though. That has to be within the same universe. A revise, typically by introducing new piece of information that imposes new interpretation. But again, I'm pretty sure that means within the same thing, because otherwise everything gets retconned. Like if you... Like the Star Wars films, right? Not to go in that direction, but the Star Wars films retcon parts of the original series, like the prequels, right? The prequels stated that the Force came from midichlorians instead of the Force coming, I guess, flowing around us, like as Yoda said in the was it the 3rd film or 2nd film? It was Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. But the point is, that's a retcon because within the same universe. Or you can argue that when Darth Maul was brought back in the Clone Wars, he got his body fixed up, that's also a retcon. But this isn't a retcon because it's literally 2 different stories. It's not the same story in the same universe. That's why it's not a retcon. If you made R3 and Luke was back and it was the same timeline, yes, I agree with you, a retcon. So the original title, the title of this is already wrong. I don't know if it's even worth reading through this, but we'll go through it. I wanted to cover all these articles in one live stream because that's how much they're worth. That's how valuable they are. No comments, which is honestly enough said. The death of Lelouch Lamperouge, aka Zero, Kokiya's Rebellion's unquestionably popular protagonist, remains one of the boldest decisions an anime has ever made. Okay, sure. I think some would argue that I think other people would argue I think people would argue that there are bold plot decisions in other anime besides this one. But sure, why not? There was a lot of this discussion whether or not Lelouch even really died, and if so, what form that death took. So when the film trilogy came out, a decade after the end of the original anime, and retconned his death, the film trilogy did not retcon his death because he was actually gone. Okay, Shirley recovered his body, but he was dead. So no, that's only resurrection. Actually, if you want to use the word retcon, fans were understandably up in arms. No offense to the fans who are angry. I've said many times, just don't watch the films. It doesn't mean anything. It's right for us. Do you have proven all live publishing experience? Click here and join our team. No, not if this is the article you guys produce. The decision has been contentious, and the impending third season of the series only has it more so. Wait, what was this written? 2020? The film came out in 2019. What was it talking about? Wasn't the, unless I'm wrong, wasn't the Resurrection film the substitute for supposedly R3? So, what? Okay. But there's a good reasons for doing so. Wait, one more point about this. We didn't get the announcement of the Kogiya's 10-year plan till what? Wasn't that the end of 2020? Hold on. Let me Google something here. 10-year plan, Kogiya's announcement. December, right. This was written in March. We get almost halfway through the year. Nani? Thank you for reconnecting. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I keep jumping in and out of this stream like someone who just had a bean dip and washed it down with a bottle of gin and has to go to the bathroom every 5 seconds. Anyways, back to this point. So before we can even consider what might happen after the time when Lelouch would have died in the series, it's a good idea to look at what happened before that. The compilation movies, which broke down the plot of the anime series into 3 films, also took the time to adjust the story, so retconning Lelouch's death would make sense once he reached the end of the film's third canon. No, absolutely incorrect. I'll explain why in a moment. Doing this means that we were able to get new stories of Kogiya's we wouldn't have been able to see Lelouch's death had stayed the same in the original anime. No, 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 and no. The change of the compilation movies was not just so they could justify Lelouch's resurrection, which it didn't. There is no scene in the films that I'm aware of. Again, I've watched the films quite a number of times. There's no scene showing Lelouch's mind being lost in C's world. So, what are you talking about? The changes to the film was only because they wanted to cram 50 episodes into 3 2-hour films. It had nothing to do with exploring other stories. I'm not saying you can't with Lelouch being alive again, but the way they constructed this idea was ridiculous. It's basically, it seemed to me like the people who write these articles don't talk to each other, which is insane to me, because if I was writing a Kogias article, I would talk to other people who covered the show to get some ideas, because these articles are contradictory. That's the funny part. Like, this contradicts that other one I was reading. So, I agree we can get new stories of Lelouch being alive. I disagree that the films were made to specifically bring him back to life, when they never actually explain until the fourth film how that happened. So no. Bad idea. The original anime set up his death. On the other hand, the original anime was written with the idea that Lelouch would set himself as a scapegoat to end fighting and usher into an era of true peace. Everything that had happened in the original series up to that point was planned that way, making for a really tight narrative, and exactly the way he meant to. Retcon ending means that the writing has to be a little more sloppy, while also being less refined and focused when compared to the original finale, and that was always the series. wrong, because R2, as I said in the beginning, uh, that was kind of a that wasn't the original plan of the story anyhow. That's why R2 was kind of messy, if you noticed. So no, that's not true. Lelouch dying at the end was never the original plan. I don't even know how you would know that, because it's not like the people who made the show ever had that discussion. Like, by the way, our plan is Lelouch will die at the end. Like, I don't think they knew what they were doing at some points in the story. So no, just no. All right. But continuing on here, it makes the writing a little more sloppy. Well, that depends, because what you guys have said in other articles is that there was some reason for Lelouch could be alive, like the whole theory of him grabbing Charles's code before he died and becoming a failed one, as Renya teaches us. So, was it more sloppy? Resurrection was a sloppy movie, but not because of Lelouch coming back to life. There were other aspects of it that I think were a little sloppy, and that was more of the plot itself than Lelouch's resurrection. So, within the narrative itself, there's no proof of this, but okay. Number 8. Good idea, Kogiya's sequel. A film trilogy which the retconning of Lelouch's death initially happened. No, it didn't. Fudge. Were for the most part retelling Kogiya's story, but retconning allowed for the release of Resurrection and for a coming third to the anime. No, I thought the third to the anime was Resurrection. Like, that was... Okay, maybe I'm wrong with that, but I thought those were... I thought the film was to replace the third season. Now, there was a 10-year plan announced with the Resurrection film, but I don't recall announcing a third season of the anime until December of last year. But even then, Zero Recapture is a continuation of Resurrection and not R2. So it's like, it's not third season of the anime. It's technically first season of a new... Whatever. I'm not... My head hurts trying to comprehend this. While not everyone feels necessarily a good thing, since the original anime series ended at a natural stopping point, for those of us who could never get enough Kogias in our lives, the retconning of Lelouch's death means that we get to go back into this world and spend more time with characters we love, the story that we love. In a previous article, they said that we couldn't have sequels because Lelouch was dead. No! No, absolutely not. In fact... One of the things that I'm going to argue in my Renya of Darkness review is that you don't have to have a story with Lelouch in it, because Lelouch is not in Renya of Darkness. Now, it's because it's a prequel, right? Lelouch couldn't possibly be alive, but they do have a guy named Dash who kind of looks like him, so maybe they were trying to use that instead. But my point is, however you look at it, Lelouch being alive or not being alive should not be what determines if we can have a new series or not. It doesn't matter. You can have sequels without Lelouch. I think that'd be interesting. Lelouch's story is done. You can go with someone else. Like, I'll give you an example. The Creed films, if you guys have watched those, with Adonis Creed from the Rocky series. So they don't have obviously Rocky Balboa as the lead. He's kind of like the role to get Adonis as the main character. And the two films are really about him and not so much Rocky, and they worked really well. And if they want to make a third Creed film, I don't know where they would take the direction of it, but I'd watch it, and that's fine. You don't have to have, as long as the writing is good, you can have sequels without Lelouch. I don't know why that matters, and it just seems like it gets more time to shine. And are we back? I think we're back now. No, we're not. God. So he gets more time. You gotta be kidding me. I don't know what's... Okay, I think we're back. I'm gonna spend a lot of research to figure out why this happened. Again, everyone left. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, Bio. Okay. Alright, I'm going to try to finish this up. I'll finish the article if anyone comes back to join. Um, Alright, I'm going to finish this up. Thank you, YouTube, for being awesome as always. And people can watch the read. Thank you later. Unbelievable. Anyhow, the resurrection is thematically inappropriate. Okay, we already mentioned that the entirety of Kogiya's anime was written around the idea that Lelouch would sacrifice himself at the end, which created a really carefully storytelling experience, but more to the point, out of the themes the series was playing with dealt with war, class divide, and how armed conflict affected different kinds of people. Lelouch's decision to sacrifice himself was an evil scapegoat, or as the evil scapegoat, in order to reset the countries and allow the piece to perfectly to play into these themes. This means the original ending is perfect for getting across the ideas and message the series was going for. Well, yeah, but in the sense like other articles, it is at the same time. But consider that that depends how you interpret the fact. Well, consider the fact that Lelouch didn't want to be resurrected. That's the first thing to note. And second, yeah, I guess you could say that from the things it was playing about how Lelouch said, you know, those who kill are to be killed. I get that. Same time though, I don't think so because again, it wasn't like he wanted Rob back. Like, if Lelouch wanted to come back to life, I would agree with you, but he didn't want to actually come back. So, not sure who's back watching this, but I'm going to do some research to figure out why my connection sucks. If I have to improve my speed, or if I have to do some extra settings, or stop every program from running, I don't know. To the question that you were asking, Holistic Python, do I do other stuff like Death Note, Parasite, Outlaw Star? I don't discuss any of those in particular because I don't know. You know, Parasite was I didn't like Parasite. I apologize. I didn't like Parasite. It wasn't my favorite. Same with Death Note. I've never seen Outlaw Star. I've heard there's like a discussion between if that's the same, if that's better than Cowboy Bebop or not. I could talk about those in the future. It might be one and done videos. I don't like one and dones, but it could be one of those. And then for Ryan said earlier, not to be rude, but how long will they finish the game? Because we're getting dying since the spring's almost over and so to start. Yeah, the game feels like it's never going to happen. And you go on their website and they're adding more characters every single day, and it's kind of silly some of the roster who they're putting in there. And then with like Reign of Darkness, it's just Renya and Futaba. Where's Alto and Dash? You know, I want to play the game with Dash and Lelouch as a team. That better happen. And then finally, what do you mean by sequel series or the movie? So basically, to explain this the best way I can, there was supposed to be season 3, and then it was replaced by Resurrection or something. Or it was supposed to be Resurrection, and then a series was to come out. The sequel series was supposed to be for the alternative universe, not for R2, as far as I understand that. So they're talking about the films, the recap films, Initiation, Transgression, Glorification, Resurrection, and they're also talking about a new season coming out after that as part of R3. Whatever that means. That's what they're doing. They're mixing stuff up because I'm pretty sure that the third film replaced the R3 season. Okay. What was a good idea? More time with Lelouch. Let's face it, we love Lelouch. He's a cool hero. Does a lot of awesome stuff. And evil stuff too. That we'll discuss that in the if Lelouch is a hero, villain, or anti-hero. But anyways, and it's also an awesome. It also has an awesome mecha that uses moves around it. If Kogias is going to continue, there's no way you can continue Lelouch as a main character. What? I want to read this again. If Kogia is going to continue, there's no way it could continue without Lelouch as the main character. Control W seems really good right now. No, no, no. You don't need Lelouch to be the... Ay, 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 ay. Okay. We're not really prepped to follow anyone else in the battle, so to speak. So Lelouch's death has been reconned. We can at least continue in the third season series. We're a game since it means more of him being clever and his enemies looking are looking awesome. Okay, you know what? If you want me to Lelouch back, if that's really true, then how do I put this? Why not to Oz Reflection because he's in that manga. Actually, he's got quite a role. I believe he works with Maribel because during when he was the emperor. Just like this statement here is just asinine to me. Bad idea. Death was a suitable ending for Lelouch. I feel like I've said the same thing 4 times reading this. We mentioned earlier the series was written with a particular ending with mind with a character. Additionally, we've also mentioned that the themes of the series made a perfect way for Lelouch to go out as a tragic Taric hero. I've never heard this word before. I'm not saying anything real, I've just never heard of it. What is this? A one at too great a cost to have been worthwhile the victor. Okay. Um, okay. And then it's hard to imagine anything Lelouch does after that is going to have the same impact, or that any of the themes that were so strong because of the way he saw himself at peace would remain if the mad dude was kept alive. Well, it wasn't magically. Like, they came over, his mind was trapped in Seed's world, and Seed 2 brought him back. And no, I disagree, because, like, one of the best parts of Resurrection was when he explains to Shamna why he wouldn't want to go back in time to change everything. Because would you deny me my pain? You know, these events have made me who I am. That was a very powerful moment in that film. So, will he have another Zero Requiem? No, but he can still have really good moments. It will be the same level, no, but just because it wouldn't be the same doesn't mean it's not worth telling. That's like saying don't write a sequel to a story because it'll never live up to the original. Well, I mean, sometimes it does, but if that's the attitude you have, like, why would you even bother? I don't know. Next point here. Oh, let's see what you're saying. A comment. So one thing I hate about articles like this is that in terms they like to use thematically inappropriate. There are so many ways to convey what you're saying better. Yeah. Well, they've said the same thing 5 times. His death was meant to be, and therefore by changing it, they ruined it. So, yeah. I'm not really sure what we're getting at here, or what's the point of this, but there are more ways to explore the world. While there's no reason why we couldn't continue the world without Lelouch, the main character, if a story is worth telling, it's worth telling, right? Yeah, apparently a pilot hero is someone where you sacrifice. A pilot hero is when apparently you acquire something, but the cost was too great. I don't know. But look what. Let me read this line again. If Kogias is going to continue, there's no way it could continue without Lelouch as the main character. 2 points later. There's no reason why we couldn't continue the world of Kogias without Lelouch as the main character. He is still the way we have entered this world in the first place. That means that whatever changes happen to politics around the world, the best person to think about is Lelouch himself. While there's no reason why we couldn't continue without Lelouch, there's no reason why we couldn't continue. And then you said, if it continues, like, what? Guys, just stay consistent. All their stupid articles always do this. And what's with this photo? I don't mean to be, like, really over, like, these pictures have, like, nothing to do with their points. Except that one, because that's a cover art too, I believe. Okay. Anyhow. If Lelouch stays in the series, the world building will only increase and be fleshed out, since we've already spent so much time with him teaching us the way that it works with the first 2 seasons of the anime. At least you guys got correctly, there were 2 seasons of the anime. And one of the previous articles, it said there were 25 episodes in Code Geass when it was summarized by the films. So at least you guys got that part right. Good job. One clap. But since we spent so much time with teaching him, it works best. You can get somebody else. I mean, Akito the Exile, who's teaching about the world? It's Layla and Akito. Lelouch is barely relevant. In Reign of Darkness, who's teaching you about this world? It's Renya, C2, Alto, and Futaba, Shiori, and Mitsui, and ING, right? It's not Lelouch. That's so stupid. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Alright. Bad idea. Repeating the past. Ooh. Like CBR article. Repeating the past. There's always a concern when anime or any television series, for that matter, is brought back after a long time off the air. Oh, man. Because it's brought back after so long without it, there's always the risk we're gonna reach the same ground we've already seen and done. Bringing back back in the next season of Code Geass means that the third season runs the risk of rehashing the first two seasons instead of something completely new that just happened to feature the same characters in the same world. I will agree with this point on some level because I made known in the Resurrection film that a lot of that did let me start over here. That film did a lot of things that the original anime did. For example, when Lelouch comes back, he tells everyone to kill themselves. He collapses the thing on Faulkner's son. I forgot his name. Like how he killed Colaris, right? So there were definitely a lot of mirroring between the two. So I can see this point. But if you've got a good writing staff, this shouldn't happen. You know, you actually get people who care and want to work. I don't think this would actually occur. But it's a valid point. This is one of the only valid points they made. But here's the thing, though. And here's the most important bit. Like I said in our articles, right? This is about retconning Lelouch's death. This is not about making a sequel to Code Geass. Those are two different topics. The other one did the same thing. It was talking about something that had nothing to do with Lelouch being alive. So while I agree with the point, it has nothing to do with Lelouch coming back or not. Yes, he'll be back, and they could retread things with him as the protagonist, but they could also retread things if he wasn't there, because a lot of parts of Code Geass, while they were obviously related to Lelouch, some of it had nothing to do with him, or it could happen without him. So I don't agree with that point. Good idea. Wrapping up plot lines. We've already mentioned the tight writing that exists in the Code Geass anime. Tight writing, I don't know. R2 was kind of messy, but okay. But there's definitely questions that were left unanswered, and plots never got wrapped up in the way they could have. If Lelouch comes back in the new season, it allows for us to get back to the basics and take care of some unresolved plots and start moving on to new plot issues. This is a good way to justify having Lelouch back as well, since it'll be an easy way to introduce ideas we've already seen. Okay. How? How would Lelouch coming back create these things? Or more importantly, why is Lelouch necessary for these things to happen? I don't understand this point. This is nothing to do with Lelouch. Again, you're right. There were some things we didn't know about. Very true. And for once, their article they link actually, is related. So good job, CBR. All right, clap. But if he comes back, it allows him to take us back into the basics and take care of some unresolved plot story before moving on to new plot issues. You don't need Lelouch for that. You have to explain to me why Lelouch specifically is needed for these things to occur, and they're not doing it. They're just saying, well, if Lelouch is back, then all of a sudden, we can go back and check these things out. Because as if, C2 isn't alive, and she couldn't possibly tell us why, where Geass came from, where did V2 get his Geass from, I don't know, what exactly the Ragnarok connection was, what was that going to lead to, more details about it. Alright, bad ideas. There are other characters besides Lelouch. Oh my god. Not only. Lelouch is not the only character in Code Geass. Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant statement. He is the main character. Look, they even italicized it. Which is, you don't italicize normal words, as far as I know. And does that mean we spend a lot of time with, and that does mean we spend a lot of time with, and we know him best of all the characters. I think we know Colin pretty well, C2 very well, Suzaku very well, not just Lelouch. And Schneisel too. But there are a lot of characters in the series we identify along with the hero who like to succeed. And more importantly, there's other characters with Geass abilities we could follow in the new series. Who has Geass abilities besides Lelouch? They destroyed the Order. I mean, C2 didn't make any contracts with anybody, right? Yes, in the films, in the Resurrection film, Zilkstan and Shamla, she had a Gias power, and so did Shawa or Shawi, I don't know what his name is. But I don't know what they're talking about there. I'm pretty sure no one has Gias power. They destroyed the order, um and there's no contract with C2. Okay. This would allow us to explore what Gias powers meant outside of just Lelouch having them and give us an opportunity to see what a person with these kinds of powers might do with them. Well, didn't we have that in the original story? Because Charles did stuff with the Gias that was different, and so did and Rollo did too. What are they even talking about? And if you want to go further, then what's we could just animate Resur. I don't know. Like, here's the thing: you can have Lelouch with other characters using Gias. In Oz of Reflection, a lot of characters have Gias in that story alongside of Lelouch. So this is wrong, but right. Like, yes, agreed. Other characters had Lelouch. Wrong that we could see Gias powers outside of Lelouch. We saw that in the original series. We see that in Akihito Exile. We see that in Oz of Reflection. I'm not sure what the point here is. Lelouch is great, and we love him. Of course we do. But focusing on him again only narrows Kogias's future more than the creators may have anticipated. Right. Alright. I'm not sure how much longer my camera is going to keep going, but let's read some comments here. Alright. Did Lelouch say lost necessary at one point? I believe so. I don't know if he said that exact quote, but Lelouch has expressed that you do sacrifice will have to be made. I mean, he told Colin we'll have to kill people in our crusade, even innocent people. So, is it supposed to be a pathway to victory? Yeah, when I looked up the word, it says that a victory won at too great of a cost. So, can I type in perfect hero? Oh, you know what? You're right. It's victory. Which article was that? Was that this one? I've gone through so many of these, my mind has turned to mush. Yeah, you know what? You're right. That makes no sense. It's a victory. It's not a hero. Like, it's named after, oh, that's kind of cool, actually. I like how they did some research, but they also fudged it up. Named after King Epirus, whose army suffered irreplaceable casualties in defeating the Romans in the Battle of Heracles. So yeah, it's victory, not hero. Yeah, that's pretty good. Continuing on here. Okay. Lelouch of the Resurrection to me felt like a case of high fan service. Yeah, it did. I won't lie. It had a lot of fan service. It did. The reason why I let it go is because that was why I watched it. I was like, okay, look, you're gonna do a film on fan service. Works for me. That's kind of what I wanted. A one final hurrah. Not the Avengers. The Expendables. Avengers. Okay. Literally, Lelouch isn't the only main protagonist. Renya, Akito, Layla, Alderaan, Orpheus are main protagonists of different series. In the main timeline, they all look at the world a different way. That's right. And when we see JSRE code, we're going to see that. CBR thinks it's code Lelouch. Yeah, well said. Exactly. Because every comment here is like, if Lelouch was back, the world could progress. Even though they've never said why Lelouch being back would make the world progress. So, I don't know. A movie about reviving Lelouch, focus on Lelouch. Gasp. Yeah, I don't know. All right. How much time do we have? Okay, I think we can go through one more article. I know. Bear with me here. We've gone through three so far, and yeah, they're all bad. Mostly because they're unfocused. The points are not relevant, and again, they don't like they write these clickbait top titles, but they don't actually relate to the article, which is amazing. All right, finally, one that I actually at least like the title better. 5 reasons why this popular anime should continue, and 5 reasons why it should stop. We might have some ingredients here. The past two, we didn't, especially that one before. Hold on, let me reopen that real quick. Where it said, retcon Lucius death, and it wasn't a retcon. But anyways. The effect of Code Geass has had the anime community is staggering, which is why it pains one to ask if the anime should continue or end. Pains? I don't think it hurts me, you know? I go to bed and sleep nicely. I don't think about the show in that respect. My job's a little more important, you know, food on the table. But sure, it pains me. The impact and influence Code Geass has on the anime community is staggering. Code Geass not only reinvigorated the mecha genre, it did, but I also would argue it might have ruined parts of it too. That's a video I want to do for another time. But anyways, it also became a staple for any new anime fan. Code Geass ran for 2 seasons, originally had an original OVA called Akito the Exiled, and for a while Code Geass had been dormant as a series, but in 2019 the original Code Geass movie came out called Lelouch of the Resurrection. Well, there also was a recap films, the two kinds, and all the manga. But I guess anime-wise, yes, that's correct. This showed that Code Geass did not lose any of its impact on the quality over the years, and fans are wondering if the continuation is in order. Code Geass Season 3 or get a completely new adventure in the Code Geass universe? Should Code Geass continue or remain an old classic? Well, old is relative because it came out in the early 2000s, but I guess as things go on, sure. Alright, why it should come back. Characters. One of the most promising prospects of continuing Code Geass are the characters. I added the R, they didn't put it there. What are Lelouch and... look at that. They forgot the O. Oh, God. Look, I spelled Schneisel's name wrong a billion times, but have you spelled Schneisel's name before? It's like Schneizel. I mean, it's... I think I got that right. So... But man, you missed the O. Oh! Ow, ow. And how they have changed. We can even get new characters into the mix or develop previously undeveloped characters. Well, Lelouch and C2 are married. Is that the... Oh, damn it. It's freaking... I almost lost my connection there. Awesome. It's always fun living on the edge there. Anyways, we can even get new characters into the mix or develop previously undeveloped characters. Sure, I agree. We definitely could. I think we could do that even just animating those other manga series. Like the original anime, the allegiances change all the time. It'd be interesting to see where everyone's at. Some characters like Colin, not only... Nanally? Oh boy, man. When I wrote the article for Renya, it was not good. Like, there were a lot of grammar errors. But look at this. Lelouch, Natalie. Incredible. Have unfinished character arcs that could be explored more in continuation. You know, Colin was kind of done, if we're being honest, because she, you know, her and her mother lived together peacefully, and she got closure with Lelouch at the end. Well, sort of. You know. So, what else is Colin supposed to do? I guess she can finish school, but, like... I don't know about that one. Don't know about that one. But sure. Not only she's ruler, so I guess there could be some aspect with that. That's true. Code Geass relies on its complex characters, and relationships and continuation could really explore more avenues than ever before. Agreed. But guys, please spell the names right. Holy crap. Holy crap. Okay. Stop animation. A long time ago, mecha shows had some of the most impressive and jaw-dropping animation in the industry. While Code Geass never had the most polished animation, the original series and OVA combined natural 2D animation with great CG animation for the mechs. That's only Akito the Exile, as far as I know. Many fans are wondering if a continuation series could maintain the great presentation direction style of the original anime, considering the track record of recent mecha series not created by Trigger. Okay. The likelihood of a well-animated continuation of Code Geass is slim. Well, hold on. I guess we'll say here. When the new film came out, that was part of the the new film. Oh, god dang it! I'm not transmitting again. Come on, please, please. Okay. All right. The new film that I'm about to say, the new film that's coming out, or that came out at this time, was part of a 10-year project, and that film proved you could do a new series with CG animation. So what they're saying here is that, if I understand this correctly, they're saying that, well, you see, we don't know how it's going to look, so we don't know if it's actually going to happen. And more importantly, because we don't know how it's going to look, therefore it won't be good. But we do know how it's going to look, so this is wrong. Like, yes, a lot of like anime is very lazy. There is no doubt. A lot of the animation that they do in some of these shows, even like Back Arrow, which is made by the guys from Code Geass, is not great in terms of animation style. But with Resurrection, I felt they really cared about that movie, and they put the animation. I think was the same, if not a little better than at least the recap film. So I don't know what they're talking about. A couple of comments here I noticed. CBR go back to school. Yeah, I know. Get some better writers. Bring Oz Reflection animated and Keep the Exile into a series. Heck, talk about the past of Renya and animated. Yeah, why not? I can't stand a point because it's hypothetical. Yeah, it is. It's all hypothetical. Most of these are. I mean, there's no like. If you go to CBR at the very bottom, they claim they fact check everything, but a lot of these are opinions that are based on false ideas. So I'm not sure that even works. Picture 9 should be used for 10. Yeah, because there's characters. Except Shinkei's dead. But other than Shinkei, yeah, there's characters. Agreed. Colin's not even with Lelouch anymore. Or was never with Lelouch. Alright. We're almost done with this. Okay, new stories. If we were to get a new animated Code Geass universe, there are a variety of new tales that could be told. We get some vein of anthology series where they can take the themes of war, destiny, and life and use those to create new characters and stories. Imagine getting a new show where a boy from Japan is inspired by Lelouch, and he goes on the journey to change the world. I thought we could have a story about Lelouch, CBR. I thought you guys said we can't have one. So, is this possible? I don't know. By the way, Mobile Suit Gundam, this is under Char. It's not of anything. He could meet popular Code Geass characters and make his mark in the universe. This could be in a similar way how Gundam has multiple different stories with the characters in the same universe. So what you're saying is you want alternative Code Geass content. Okay. I can't argue too much with this. I mean, what do you think Gensari Code is? You got a new protagonist who's going to meet the other characters like Renya, Orpheus, Alderaan, and of course Lelouch. So they're already doing this. Gundam, I guess it's a fair comparison, but a little. Oh my God! Stop. I keep not like it's so annoying. I transmit data one moment and I don't the next. Okay, okay. At least we're back. It's poor, but we're back. Okay. Number 7. Stop repeating the past. What we don't want to see a continuation of Code Geass is a show spinning its wheels and repeating its plot point. Season 2 was guilty by repeating certain beats so the show could get the interesting plot developments. Season 3 should be a clever evolution of the characters and story, but if the show repeats what's popular and has nothing new to say, then the show was a waste of time, or would be a waste of time. The worst part of the recent Code Geass movie is ironically Lelouch's revival. Not that there was anything new, but it hinted at a future that could show. Not that there was anything new, but it hinted at a future where the show pulls from the past rather than creating a new future from itself. What? The show repeats itself? What popular new? Okay, I mean, I get, yeah, sure, for sure, I agree. The Resurrection film had some beats from the original. I get that, but I mean, yeah, you don't want to repeat yourself. I agree, but I don't think they would do that because if you look at like Renya and Oz Reflection and Akira Exile, those are all 3 very different stories in the same universe. So you could definitely do something differently. We have proof of it. So this is not an accurate statement. If there was no other narratives to look at in the universe, you could make this point, but we have evidence. This is not a good point for that reason alone. The politics, yes. The world of Code Geass is one of the most appealing aspects of the series. Learning about the war against Britannia and Japan, all the intricacies of social classes and racism are interesting and compelling. Code Geass was great at taking characters like Lelouch and Suzaku and exploring the relationship and politics of Japan and Britannia. Britannia, I believe, has two ends. Hold on. If they got Schneisel, yeah, it's got two ends. I thought so. Okay. Every character has their allegiance and beliefs that informs their actions and philosophies. A continuation explores more philosophies and worldviews. I think she, is that two words? I don't know. Could expound the world and make a more compelling Kogia story. Sure, I don't disagree with this point, but it doesn't. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Like I said in these articles, they don't really like do anything creative. They just say, yeah, if we get like more Kogias, we get like more politics, and we'll get like more new stories and more characters. Isn't reading fun? Okay, stop. Keep it classic. Sometimes a good thing to let a product maintain its classic remembered for impacts it when it was made. One reason for there not big continuation is that it might never be good as the original series. Yeah, again, I don't think that's a reason not to do another series. Unless you want to retread the same beats. Otherwise, yeah, you make sequels. Why not? I think it's fine as long as you can keep going. And there's a lot of ideas. I mean, Code Geass ended at a point where I was like, there's so much we can do beyond what's there. So I think at some point every anime could be brought back as long as it's done right. Like for every Super and Boruto, which had so many complaints, justifiably so, you have other stories that continue and that do a good job, right? So if it's done right, I don't see it being a problem. The problem with this issue, or I said problem twice, but the problem with this point is it's saying that it could, and therefore we shouldn't. Every point is like that. It could repeat the past. It could have bad animation, It could. But we know if done correctly, it wouldn't. Anyways, director, composers, and the voice actors changed and might not bring back the same energy they gave before. Again, that's all speculation. A recent example was a reboot of Kino's Journey. Sure, it had all the components that made it a great reboot, but it lacked the talent and magic of the original story had. It also retroactively destroyed the reputation of the original series, like how Eureka 7 AO was a bad continuation of Eureka 7. I haven't seen AO yet, so I can't say, but I heard it wasn't well received. And the films weren't good either. Now, I did hear that Full Metal Panic Infinite Victory, I believe it's called, or Invincible Victory, I think that was pretty good. So there's always like examples to counter this. Again, if it's done right, it's okay. Geass powers. Geass powers are freaking awesome. Yes, they are, I guess. The idea of being gifted this magical power and using it to change the world is such a great thematic idea. Thematic. Whenever Lelouch used Geass to conduct a cunning plan, it was compelling to see it in action. Other Geass like Mao and Charles are so wildly different and present difficult. One more time. Other Geass users like Mao and Charles are so wildly different and present difficult challenges for the characters of Code Geass to overcome. That's too long. That's a sentence. In a continuation series, it would be great to see more creative use of Geass and more Geass users for the main characters to fight and overcome. The possibilities are endless, and seeing what can come from a continuation would give anyone goosebumps. That's actually why the Resurrection film was great, because we saw Shamna having a Geass power, and the idea there could be other masters out there, other immortals who have Geass ability. Because even in Reign of Darkness, U2 gave his powers to Dash, who gave his powers to Shiori, who became V2. So there's still only two immortals, even with Renya in play. So Shamna gave us like a third one. So that was kind of cool. I agree with this point. No arguments here. I mean, yeah. But not just the villains having Geass. How about main characters having Geass power? Either way, yeah. Okay. Stop. Too confusing for newcomers. Yeah, there's some truth to this. The biggest hurdle that I continue with Code Geass would have to overcome is making the show accessible for newcomers. Gundam had this problem for a long time and continues having to this day. Code Geass is a deeply complex show full of politics, intricate characters, motivations, and making a third season several years later without a mainline Code Geass asking for trouble. First of all, I noticed in this article they keep saying politics, intricate characters, and stuff like that, but I think if you state it once, you don't have to state it again. Full Metal Panic had a continuation this past year. Nobody watched it for the same reason. Really? Nobody watched it? I don't know if that's true or not. New releases of the original show or recap movie would needed for this to work. But they already exist. Am I like when this article was written? Hold on, let's go up the top. January 8th, 2020. So this is a year after, or no, almost a year after Lucid Resurrection. So that means that we already had recap films for Code Geass. We actually have 2 sets of recap films. What? Nobody watched Full Metal Panic because it was confusing? How is Full Metal Panic confusing? There are only 4 series. You have Full Metal Panic, you have Famofu, you have Second Raid, and Invincible Victory. That's it. What a terrible comparison. And Famofu is just it's just filler. It takes place between Second Raid and the original series. But even then, you could watch all 4. Like, it's okay. Here's what I'll say about this story. The reason why Code Geass is confusing is not because of what they're saying here. It's confusing because there are so many different things to watch now. You have the original series, you have Agito the Exile, you have the recap films of Resurrection, you have all the manga. There's so much content to consume with Code Geass. A newbie would be like, where do I start, right? That's the confusing part. And Gundam is the same because there's so many series in Gundam. However, it's a little easier than Code Geass because all the series in Gundam are kind of separate, right? Wing, Double O, Turn A, or Turn, I'm sorry, MS teams, or MS teams. They're all different. So, you can, and of course, Iron Blood Orphans too, right? You can watch these individually and not have to see the whole series. There's also the main story of Gundam, right, with Char and Amuro. But the point I'm making is that, at least with Gundam, you can watch one and not have to watch anything else. With Code Geass, it's more confusing because people often confuse the recap films in the alternate universe with the main one. And these guys are no different because I read articles earlier here where they were suggesting that they retconned Lelouch's death, which they didn't. So, the problem here to me is that it's confusing for newcomers, not because of the plot, because there's so many different things to watch. And bringing Full Metal Panic made no sense to me, because again, Full Metal Panic, there's like 4 anime in it. If you, no offense to anybody watching or in general, but like if you can't follow a show with 4 seasons that literally follow one after the other, then like I don't know what to tell you. If nobody watched Invincible Victory, it was probably because it came out too late, not because it was too confusing to follow. Anyways, alright. Resurrection of the mecha genre. A continuing thread throughout the list of the impact it could have on the mecha genre as a whole. If done right, Code Geass could be the banner title for all our mecha shows to fall under. If anyone asks, what mecha show should I watch first? The anime community could direct them to Code Geass. If done right, Code Geass could be a banner title for all their mecha shows to fall under. Okay. Gundam is too vast and unapproachable for newcomers. And shows like Aldrin Zero and Darling the Frank had terrible endings. Code Geass has the opportunity to be a shining title in the industry and could lead to a revival in the mecha genre as a whole. Who doesn't love the sewer-flying robots? Gundam is too vast and unapproachable? No, absolutely not. That's not true at all. I just said, like, Iron Blood Orphans, Double O, Wing, MS Teams, or MS Team. I keep thinking of Microsoft Teams. But all those are very approachable. They're not all. Okay, and of course they don't mention Macross either, right? Because Macross doesn't exist. Fudge that show. And there's other animes like Aldo Zero and Darling the Fox, you know, like you have Data Live and you have Blue Gender, you have the entire Ghost in the Shell series, which by the way is still going on because Mecha isn't just giant robots, it's also anything that's robotic, right? So the fact that they are. Did you guys ever watch Mecha? There's like a bunch out there. So I haven't seen Darwin the Franks or Alden Zero, so I can't say the endings were terrible. Although I heard they weren't so good. But the idea that like, oh, Code Geass could be a shining title because it revives the mecha genre. I think in some ways Code Geass ruined it, but I'm yeah, I have a theory about that. I have to do more research into it. Um, but there are other mechas you can watch besides Code Geass, and if they want to resurrect the mecha genre, all they have to do is go back to the roots or try to find a new way to tell mecha because it's gone through so many phases, right? You had the not to go too much into this, but you had the giant stuff like Super Ghetto Robo, I believe it was called, and that type of stuff, or Baldios, and there's like a bunch like that where it's like a giant robot finding stuff, and then you kind of had like this. I know the timeline's completely messed up here, but then you had stuff like Neon Genesis Evangelion, Razathian, Eureka 7, where it was more like psychological, messed up type of stuff, and then before that you had like Gundam and Macross, so it was constantly evolving, and now we've kind of gone to like this fan servicey mecha stuff, where you have what's that one? What the hell are they called? Stratos 4? No, that's not what it is. There's a lot of like fan servicey mecha stuff, like heavy object, for example, or Mew Love or Muv Love, whatever it's called. But if that makes any sense, so there's like if you want to fix mecha, I think you just have to come up with really interesting ideas or take older ones and improve them. I mean, one reason why I like Gynex as a company, at least originally before they broke up and Studio Trigger was created under some of the people, but they looked at like Macross and Gundam and they made Gunbuster, which was completely different at the time. You just need revolution. You just people who can just think of a new idea to change mecha forever. So that's why I don't know why they don't even think about that. But more importantly, like they mentioned All Zero and Down the Franks. You can always watch Old Mecha too, right? There's some really good ones there too, like Metzinger Z and well, stuff I've seen. That looks pretty good. Well, anyways, you get the idea. I can ramble all day with Mecha. I'm not gonna do that here. Anyways, fan service the anime. Let's not turn Code Geass into Star Wars. Yeah, the recent film was for fun time on its own, but it was a movie for the fans. It wasn't for the benefit of making new fans and cultivating a following. Um, I'm not going to go into this can of worms, but that's not even true. Because Star Wars was really appealing, the latest films. It wasn't for the benefit of making new fans and cultivating a following. It was to throw a bone to the old fans. You just said the same thing 3 times here. The recent film was a fun zone, but it was movie for the fans. It wasn't for the benefit of making new fans and cultivating a following. It was to throw a bone to the old fans. But wow. There's an old expression. You have to like just, and I try to use when I write, and also I make the videos. Get to the point, right? What are you talking about here? You're just writing words for sake of words. There's an opportunity for growth in the series and possibly for new stories, but the series is going to go live in its own shadow. Just appease fans, and maybe we'll see something new. Take the best out of Code Geass and make something original that has artistic value. Fan service is fine as long as you continue to innovate and bring new fans, but Code Geass isn't as surprised as it once was. It's time to look at the future and make something utterly unique. Well, it ain't Code Geass anymore, is it? What the heck does that mean? So she I think I know what they're saying there. Like, if you're gonna do Code Geass, don't God, rip, what's it called? Don't repeat the past. So they made the same point again. Do something different. I don't know who this guy is, but God, this article was bad. Oh my lord. All right, I want to read some comments here, and we're gonna probably wrap this up soon. Okay. What Japanese boy would be inspired by Lelouch, the Demon Emperor? Yeah, good point, because as far as I know, no one knows outside of like a few people, right? So if he was inspired by Lelouch, oh my god, he'd be killing people. Mom and Dad, I am going to rule the world. Now, son, don't do it. But I saw Lelouch do it. And now I'm going to do it. I'm going to unite the world under my evil dictatorship. I like those women Schneisel made. I'm going to make a better one. I'm going to blow up the world. Ah, right. Good point. I mean, next point from Yoshi. I mean, every story can be done right. Hell, Super actually is making a big comeback, and the new moral arc in the manga was actually really damn good. You know, I haven't read the Super manga. I kind of got like most people during the universe arc. I kind of got burned out after that. I just wasn't interested anymore. But hey, if it's good, I'll check it out. I know is it Geekdom 101? One of those anime channels, they talk about it all the time, so maybe it's worth reading. It's a weird situation because I won't lie, the movies definitely make me confused the first time coming to Kogias. Yeah, like I said before, the series is a little confusing because there's a lot of content, not because of the greater themes. It's just there's so much stuff to consume, and no one knows where to start. That's the part that I understand. Komofu is the most powerful mecha. Yeah, well said there. I think we're at a good point here. Yeah, so I've gone through now um, four of these CBR articles discussing the entire alternate universe. And as you can see, I hope to God. Oh, really? Let's see. I'll look it up. Let's see. I'll look the Kogias characters. Yeah, let's see. All right, we'll do like a bonus one here. Let's see. We can do one more reading. Is that here? The most intelligent characters in Kogias and CBR. I don't see that here. Let's see. I'm looking. Smartest and dumbest. There's smartest and dumbest strategies. I know there's a Screen Rant article. I think that's what you're talking about. There's a Screen Rant article about Kogias. This might be the one you're referring to. It's like, oh, that's like ranked. Yeah, here it is. It's Screen Rant. Screen Rant owns CBR, by the way, so I don't blame you for like getting it wrong. All right, I'm gonna go through this really quick because I want to stop this soon. We'll take a look. Yeah, no, again, yeah, I know it's the same garbage, honestly. All right, let's take a look. What's the ranking? Colin, number 10. I mean, sure, but it depends on depends who's afterwards. Also, this spelling is kind of weird. All right, Suzaku, okay, Ling Shike, Yuffie, Cornelia, Charles. This is. Isn't it Z, not D? Yeah, it's Z. It's Z, Britannia, not D. Nice job, guys. V2, C2, Schneisel, Lelouch. Um, well, you don't have Kaguya here, which is a little odd because she's pretty smart. Colin being smart, I mean, she is, you know what it is? She's academically brilliant, right? She's a straight A student, so I guess that works. Um, Hisazaku, oh god. Um, yeah, I don't know about that one. I think he is smart, but I don't know if he's, yeah, I don't know. Lee Shike, yeah, he's pretty politically savvy. Yuffie kind of is too, but not in the way that like Lelouch is. I guess you could put her there. Cornelia's a good strategist, so that makes sense. Charles is he smart? I don't know. V2, same. I don't know about that one. What else we got here? C2, yeah, she's lived forever. She's really smart. Schneider's one of the smartest characters in the story, that's for sure. Um, I don't know. This list is kind of how do I put it. I guess the way to think about it is, are they missing anybody? And I would say definitely Kaguya. She's pretty smart. Where's Lloyd? I don't know why. Where's Lloyd and Nina? I mean, um, Nina like made the Flea warhead, and Lloyd is like Lloyd or Rakshata should have been on here. Well, if you're gonna, yeah, that's a good point. C2 versus Schneisel. Well, I will say this much. Technically speaking, C2 is probably number one because she's lived the longest and she's been through a lot of stuff. Like if you read Reign of Darkness, she was pretty brilliant even then, and that was about 140 years before this. Um, uh-oh. I think my camera's dying. Yeah, my camera's dying. Okay, 1 second. I gotta make one quick change. Yeah, it's dead. All right. And let me transition. Okay, you should now be seeing my different camera. I knew it was gonna die at some point. I think it's behind. You should be seeing my I changed the hold on a second. Hold on a moment. What's going on with my connection here? So 2 hours and 25 minutes. That's the limit. I'll keep that in mind. For some reason, OBS, what are you doing? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the comments here, though. Okay, so yeah, CJ is probably the smartest character, as I was saying. Shinkei is low. I think he's low because I guess they don't value military strategy. I don't know. Yeah, Shinkei's actually pretty smart. He knows like the whole political game, uh, and he's a good strategist in terms of fighting. So I agree with that one. Charles maybe could be higher. Um, maybe. Oh, damn it, my data isn't. Oh, scoop. Come on. Okay. Okay, my face died. It's supposed to be showing my uh what is going on? Alright, let me try one more thing. One more thing. Delete. Okay. Yeah, my camera died in the middle of recording. I now know what the limits are. That was one of the tests here. Nope, I don't want to use that one. Let's go to my webcam. Um, it's not showing up now. What is going on? You know what? Um, 1 second. So it deleted my. Yep. You guys see the camera failing. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna try one more gosh dang time here. Okay. Okay, please stop using that camera. I want to use this camera. Okay. Alright. Think we're good now. Think we're good. Transition. You know what? Hold on a second. I don't know if this is the right one. Okay, I think we're good now. Yeah, my camera died. I mean, I had to switch cameras. Okay. You're right. It depends on what I meant by intelligence. I will say this. We are, what, 2 hours into this, and I'm not transmitting any data. Yay. Awesome. Just awesome. We're good now. Are we good now? Keeps telling my stream is healthy, but it's really slow. Okay, I think we're okay. So, let me just do one thing. Let's see. How's it looking? Let's just take a look really quickly. All right, I know. Damage control here. All right. Okay. All right, here's what we're gonna do. It's been 2.5 hours doing this. This is a good article. Thanks for suggesting it, Ryan. I think what I'll do is maybe the next live stream I'll do, we can talk about more detail because I really don't want to half-ass this because there's a lot of interesting ideas here. But I definitely I like what you guys are saying, how like Shinkei should be higher. Why is C2 lower than like Schneider or Lelouch? Where's Lloyd, for crying out loud? So there's definitely a lot to discuss here. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here, guys, because it's already kind of late, especially by me. I'm not sure what time it is by you guys, but me, it's pretty late. So yeah, just to recap what I said in the beginning, I'm doing a couple videos on Writing in Darkness this month. I'm doing videos on Lelouch the Villain, and I got some articles about FMA and Naoki Urasawa's Monster coming out. So yeah, that's hopefully the latency and you guys catch this at the right time. But yeah, we're on this here, and I'm gonna figure out why my internet sucks. That's gonna be my goal, my mission in life, to figure out why I can't get my freaking connection to work, even when it's working. Because the first time it was like it was great, second time problems, third time problems. So, yeah, yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. I want that community tab. Hopefully, we get it sooner or later. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you again later. So, wait, what's the camera?